Well, hello everyone, and welcome back to Anthony and Red's Top 10. I know it's been a while since we've been here, but it's time that we got back into it. So how are you, my friend? Oh, I'm doing pretty good. How are you doing there? Well, I'm doing pretty well. Oh, I see your hair is getting kind of long there. Yeah, but the ladies like it. Yeah, you better not let your wife hear you say that. Anyway, that's true. Alright, today what we're going to do is something a little special. And because of the fact that there are going to be so many great games on this list, we're not going to have a top 10. Oh no, we're going to do a top 16. What we're going to do is the top 16 best Atari 2600 games by Activision. That's right. Now, when we do some of the other third-party game companies, or even the in-house one that we're going to be doing pretty soon, it's not going to be as difficult finding top 10. Because let's face it, in some cases there weren't a whole lot of them. Oh yeah, there were some third-party game companies, I tell you, they just didn't make some good games. Yeah, that's for sure. But for this one, we're going to have 16, as opposed to our usual top 10. Alright, so in order to qualify for this list, we're going to judge it by a couple different things. First off, the fun factor. That's correct. Is the game a lot of fun? Secondly, we're going to look at graphics and sound. Yep, exactly. Also, we're going to look at replayability. Is the game replayable? And if you play it once, are you going to want to play it again and again? Yeah, and then the challenge. Is the game too easy or too hard? Because if the game's too easy, you're not going to want to play it again and again. That's for sure. And if the game's too hard, you're really not going to want to play it again. Also, we're not going to have any prototypes. No, that's for sure. None of those. We can do that in another list. Actually, we did a list before, but I think we need to do a bigger one. Yeah, maybe something kind of similar to this. Also, the games had to be released during the life of the console. Without further ado, let's get into the games. Are you ready? Oh yeah, I'm ready when you are. Okay then, so here we are with Anthony and Red's top 16 games for the Atari 2600 by Activision.
At the number 16 spot there, we have Dolphin. This was released in 1983 and was programmed by Matthew Hubbard. Now, this description comes directly off AtariAge.com and was written by Larson Tyler. Dolphin is a unique game that requires you to use your ears as well as your eyes to be able to play the game fully. You're in control of a dolphin who needs your help in swimming through the ocean through schools of seahorses and being able to get the good currents, the arrows that are going in her direction, while dodging the hungry squid and the bad currents. You hear a set of beeps before each school of seahorses appear, which is the dolphin sonar. You must listen to the pitch to determine where you can swim through. The higher tones mean you swim closer to the surface, while the lower tones mean you have to swim closer to the ocean floor. Alright, colliding with the seahorse slows your dolphin down, and it makes it easier for the squid to catch her, but she can protect herself by guiding herself into currents that slow down the squid. Occasionally a seagull will fly by overhead, and if the dolphin touches it, she will gain the ability to drive the squid away by ramming into it. I tell ya, this is one that we kind of discovered later when we were kids. We didn't play this one very much, but once we got going on it, I tell you, it's a pretty fun game there and very unique. And next up, we have Private Eye. Now, this was kind of a later release. It was released in 1984 and was programmed by Bob Whitehead. In this game, you are this detective, and you are trying to solve particular cases. Now, the first case is pretty easy. Is this one? What happens is there was a robbery, Safecracker Suite is what it's called, and it goes like this. On Thursday, September 7th at approximately 1:30 p.m., bank teller Betty Jeepers activated the silent alarm near her foot. The man standing at her window had just handed her a note demanding $10,000 in one bag. The note also described the loaded gun in his pocket. Jeepers described him as a diminutive but suave, and he bowed slightly as he left, saying "Merci beaucoup." Quickly, Touche looked to the sky and said, "It's him," as that is the name of you. You are Inspector Touche. Okay, so here's what you need to do. Prosecution requirements. Find the gun and verify it at the gun store. Find the money and return it to the bank. Find LaFiend and book him at police headquarters. Statute of limitation, 3 minutes. Locale, Uptown, 32 blocks. So you have a limited amount of time to do all this stuff and throw him in the who's gal. Yep, and it's a pretty fun game. Overall, quite challenging, and you do need the map of the city that comes with the game. Oh yeah, so this is one of the ones you have to have the book. Exactly. Because of that fact, is one of the reasons I don't think it got higher up on the scale is because it is a little difficult. And next up here, we have at the number 14 spot, we have Cosmic Commuter. This was released in 1985 and programmed by John Van Ryzen. In this game, you are a transport ship and you are trying to transport passengers from one end of the planet to another. Of course, if that was all, it wouldn't be much of a game, would it? No, it sure wouldn't. And this one, you gotta watch out for your fuel level and them other things you gotta shoot at, and then you gotta land the thing. Oh, it can be a really fun game, but it can also be quite challenging. Yep, which is probably part of the reason it wasn't higher up on this list, because the challenge sometimes can be a little much. But to be honest, one thing it does have is replayability. That is for sure. Now at the number 13 spot, we got Sequest. Now, this is another one that we didn't really play much as kids. No, I didn't know anyone that had it, but honestly, I kind of wish I did because it's really a fun game. Now, this one here was released in 1983 and was programmed by Steve Cartwright. In this game, you control a yellow submarine who must destroy numerous waves of sharks and enemy subs, all while trying to rescue friendly divers. Really a fun game. Starts off really easy, and then it just hits you like you wouldn't believe. So, really a cool game, and of course, you gotta love that sunset up above there, which is something that just screams Activision, don't you know? And next up from Dan Kitchen, a friend of this channel. For 1983, you have Crackpots. In this game, you are dropping pots on these bad bugs that are trying to eat away at your house. Pretty simple, but yet still a very, very fun game, and one that I enjoy playing for many hours on end. At the number 11 spot there, we got Chopper Command by Bob Whitehead. In this war game, you take on the role of this helicopter, and you're trying to protect a convoy from other jets and all kinds of stuff. They're trying to shoot them, so you are protection. And boy, you can just really hammer on the fire there. And of course, you got that beautiful sky. And this game just is Activision all the way, and definitely one that we used to play a lot when we were little. Oh yeah, and still play to this day. This definitely has replayability, and it's one of those games that you just can't put down. At the number 10 spot, we have Keystone Capers. This was released in 1983 and was programmed by Gary Kitchen. Now, I am a sucker for silent films, especially the comedies like Chaplin, and I love the Keystone Cops, and so this was right up my alley. Now, in this one, you take on the role of Keystone Kelly, this copper, and you are trying to catch this bad guy who's running through a shopping mall. And you gotta avoid some different obstacles on the way, jump over stuff, pick up evidence, and ultimately catch him before time runs out. A really addictive game, and probably one of the few games I probably could have actually got the patch for. How about you? Oh yeah, I don't enjoy as much as you do, but man, I've seen you play this game for hours on end, I tell you what. At the number 9 spot, we have River Raid. This was released in 1982 and programmed by the only lady on today's list, that being Carol Shaw. What can you say about this game? It's just so much fun. Oh yeah, I mean, this is one of them loud games where it's just, you play this game as a kid and your parents think there's a full-scale war going on in the living room. What you're doing is you're going down a river here and you're just blasting everything in sight. Make sure you don't run out of fuel though, and pick that up as you're going. But I tell you, it gets pretty intense after a while, and sometimes you're going to be hitting the reset button a lot, but you know what, who cares, because this is a fun game. And at the number 8 spot, we have Pitfall 2. This was released in 1983 by David Crane. Now, I know I'm going to get some heat for this because, people say, the graphics are beautiful, the sound is great, and the challenge, and blah, blah, blah. But honestly, the challenge sometimes is too hard. I mean, it took me forever to beat this game, and I don't know if I even be able to do it again. Oh yeah, because I mean, it's tough, but at least the important thing is you hit them little spots there, and when you quote unquote die, it takes you right back there. Yeah, but I have such a hard time when you get those bats, just getting the timing just right. But like I said, if it hadn't been such a hard game, I probably would have had it higher on the list. But overall, I mean, it is a great game, and if you don't mind. And a game that's hard and quite difficult, you'll probably enjoy it. And remember, this is Atari, so there's no saving. You gotta sit down and play this sucker all the way through. So, yep, I am waiting for the hate mail. Next up at the number 7 spot, there we have Enduro. Now, this was programmed by Larry Miller and was released in 1983. In this game, it's a racing game, but you're not really racing against other people, even though they're on the track with you. You're actually racing against the clock. And boy, this game gets hard really fast, but not hard enough that you're not gonna keep trying. Oh, that's for sure. I mean, you're going on this track and it twists and turns so much. You got all the cars in front of you, then it goes to nighttime, then you're in the fog, then you're in the snow. Wow. Just, I can't find the words to tell you how many times I've kept replaying this game hoping to get a better score. Yeah, did you ever get the patch for this one? Well, no. Unfortunately, I never got any of the patches. I qualified for some of them, but, that was when I was older and, the patches were long gone. But this one, I think I came close, but not quite. But overall, I just kept right on trying because the game is that much fun. And next up we have Grand Prix from 1982, programmed by David Crane. Now this is a game I have so many fond memories of. I remember when my parents got the game for us, we just played the heck out of it. I even had some friends that would come over and they would ask to play this because they just love the game so much. Oh yeah, it's a fun game. I remember when you and Larry played it, you guys had a lot of fun. Oh, for sure. It's just so much fun. And it's funny how you get going at a good clip and you think you're avoiding everything and then bam, you hit one of the cars. Just the sound it makes, and it's just an overall very well made game. Simplistic in some ways, but overall just a really fun game with replayability. I mean, look at it. The game is 40 years old and I'm still playing it to this day, so that should tell you something. And at the number 5 slot, we have Ghostbusters. This was released in 1985, about a year after the movie was. Also programmed by David Crane and assisted with by Dan Kitchen. In this game here, you are the Ghostbusters, and you're going around busting ghosts and sucking them up with the ghost vacuum and trying to save the city from Zool and all that good stuff. And the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man comes out. Now, this is not the best port of this game. Personally, I think the Commodore 64 was the best. It wasn't the worst. Definitely the worst has to go to the NES. Oh, that was bad. But overall, it's a great game, and it really, really pushes the Atari 2600 to its limits. Oh yeah, it sure does. And I'll tell you, it's so much fun. And it does have replayability because you want to keep playing over and over again and see if you can get a better score. And hopefully not let the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man squish the buildings. But yeah, replayability. It has the theme song playing, and it's not annoying. Sometimes when you have the looping music, it can get real annoying, but this one, it does not. It's a great game and a must-play for sure. Next up, we have a game that was released during the height of the video game crash, 1984, and this is Hero. It was programmed by John Van Ryzen. In this game, you take on the role of our hero, and you are diving deep into the mines to save the miners. You have a helicopter on your back, a laser, dynamite, and it's just so much fun. And you want to talk about replayability. I'll tell you, I have played this game, I can't tell you how many times, just trying to get higher levels and trying to memorize it. And you do need to memorize. Oh yeah, you got to memorize what lies down each passage. Be careful, watch out for the lava and the snakes, and it's just Wow. I mean, it doesn't matter what platform you play it on, and it's been released for several. The integrity of the game is kept throughout the different platforms. But of course, the first time I played it was on the 2600. So, yes, this is definitely a hidden gem in the Activision library. All right, and at the number three spot, we have Laser Blast. This was released in 1981 by and programmed by David Crane. In this game, you take on the role of these aliens, and you are trying to shoot these guys on the ground before they shoot you. Now, I know this game is very simple, and it's a very early Activision game, but I tell you, the replayability makes this high on the ratings. Oh, for sure. I can attest to that. I've seen this guy play this game for like a single game for like 4 or 5 hours straight, just trying to hit that 1 million score, even though he couldn't, get get the patch anymore. He was definitely trying to earn it, I tell you, and it was fun. I remember playing this game as a little kid and just watching my parents and their friends play it, and I had to try it. And once I got started, I just couldn't stop. It's just that good. Now at the number two spot there, we have Star Master from 1982 by Alan Miller. Now, do yourself a favor I'm telling you this before we get started. Do not play this game in emulation. Get yourself a real 2600 with a controller and play it, because I tell you what, we had the hardest time getting this game footage. I know, and we tried several times, but in this game, you are like a starship commander and you are trying to destroy these aliens in different sectors of the galaxy, as well as trying to keep your ship from getting destroyed. So you have a crosshair, and you're trying to line them up, shoot them, and try not to get shot, because I tell you, sometimes it only takes a few shots and you're done. Really a fun and addictive game. I mean, I played, if it could be possible to wear out an Atari 2600 cartridge, I probably would have done it with this game. Just enjoyed it. From the minute my parents got it for us, I just was addicted and still love it to this day.
So before we get to the number one spot, here's a couple honorable mentions. Yeah, it was really hard to pick this many as it was, but these are just a couple that just didn't quite make the cut, but doesn't mean we didn't like them. That's right.
First one we have is Stampede. Now, this game is a lot of fun, don't get me wrong, but it gets old really, really fast. And sometimes the controls are a little wonky on it. And yeah, like I said, it's fun for a little while, but it just does not hold up, in my opinion. And next up, we have Barnstorming. Now, same kind of deal with this one. It just kind of doesn't hold my interest much, and you spend most of the time just trying to memorize where stuff is, just trying to go after that high score. And yeah, I mean, it's strictly memorization, and it just really. It's fun for about 5-10 minutes, but it's not really one that we like to play over and over again. And last of all, we have Skyjinx. Now, as a kid, I thought that, by looking at the box, that you flew the balloon, but no, you actually fly the plane. And have a hard time remembering, do I pass on the right or the left of the pylons? And yeah, I mean, it looks beautiful and it's fun for a while, but there's just too much stuff going on here. And yeah, I was still kind of disappointed as a kid that, when I found out that you don't fly the balloon.
So here is number one, the game that we consider the best game that Activision made for the Atari 2600, and it should be no surprise to any of you.
And that is Pitfall from 1981, programmed by David Crane. What can I say about this game? It was one of the very first Atari 2600 games that I ever played. I'll never forget the first time I played it. I was over at my aunt's husband's family's house, and I just fell in love with the game right then and there. And I've been playing it on and off for years. It never gets old. You haven't gotten all the stuff, have you? No, I have earned the patch on it, but no, I haven't been able to get everything. And there is a map online where you can try to get every single item, whether it's the gold, the ring, the silver, in the amount of time that they give you. I've come close a couple times, but not quite. Because I tell you, I I don't like going underground, and I still sometimes have trouble jumping over that scorpion. But this game has been hacked several times, and some really cool versions have been made from it, including myself when I made Little My Scavenger Hunt. So overall, in our opinion, this is the best game that Activision ever made for the Atari 2600.
Well, that brings this episode of Anthony and Red's Top 10 to a close. Yeah, even though it wasn't a top 10. Well, that's true. And we really hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, let us know by giving us a big thumbs up and subscribe to this channel if you haven't already. So what's going to be the next time we get together? Oh, yeah, we should probably talk about that. Well, I think we already decided, didn't we? Oh, yeah. So for the next episode, we're going to do the top 10 Atari 2600 games made by Magic. Yep, that's true. Another great third-party game company. Well, until that time, I'm Anthony Gamer, and I'm Red the Fox, and we will see you all in the next episode of Anthony and Red's Top 10. Bye for now. Bye, everyone.